All right, well, my name is Shiloh Gammon, and this is my story. For those that know Vertical, this title may seem like a contradiction. I can assure you it's not, and the reason for that is highly fluctuating environments for people who like structure, such as myself, tend to reveal very quickly what you're doing either entirely wrong or what you're overthinking and can just tweak a little bit to improve. And much like all of the best stories, as Noah just told, ours begins with a moment that I chose, even though there are many that I could choose from, on a cold January day a couple of years ago. I worked for a credit union back in Ohio, and I was standing at my teller station, and it was kind of boring. The branch that I was at is known for being very slow, and oftentimes conversation is the only way to keep things real going. And so I was trying to keep one going as well as I normally could at that point, but it wasn't, with mixed results. And I went to the back for reasons I can no longer remember. And as I was going back to do that, I saw this message on a coworker's screen. As much as that did sting, it was not a surprise to me. This was something that I had known about and had been working on myself for several years, even up to that point, and had made great strides in. But I knew there was room to improve still. And so what was I to do? Where was I to go? I didn't really know at the time. I didn't have that many opportunities, save one, which is where I actually kind of lied to you, because this is where the story actually does not begin. It begins earlier on a day I no longer remember, when I heard about Apprentice University. I heard about Apprentice University through my mom, who heard it through a family friend, who heard it from a radio ad. Yes, that sounds like a comedy bit. No, I will spare you that. I'm not good. You don't want to hear it. What it is, though, was why it did appeal to me as a very technical person, is it was the opportunity to do paid apprenticeships in a field of your choice where you could get experience and be immediately hireable and do that with little to no debt. And again, as a technical person, great. And also all of the personal, professional development that came with it. And while Noah stole my thunder on this point earlier, right as I was getting ready to do that, there were some roadblocks. The problem is where I'm from, as I said, a credit union back in Ohio. As we stand, I am 2.5 hours away from home. That's not exactly commutable every day to school. Furthermore, because it was such a small school, there was no housing. So my only option then was to spend the next couple of years working hard and saving to make sure that I could afford an apartment and tuition as I needed to make sure I could get through and support myself. And so a couple years pass, which is when the first story happens. And shortly thereafter, I'm finally ready. I'm getting ready to go, and it switches ownership to Vertical. And as many of you might know, with changes in leadership, that can mean a variety of different things. Nothing could change or everything could change. And so after looking into it and taking a visit here, I discovered that it remained mostly the same, even though the focus shifted from a more, using the word loosely, practical environment to a more creative focused environment. But it retained everything else that I was looking for and even added an even bigger emphasis on God. And so I decided to continue to pull the trigger. And I am so glad I did, because it is possibly the single greatest thing I have done for myself professionally, personally, and spiritually. I have grown significantly in my personal skills through Mr. Osborne's Dale Carnegie classes, 2 of them that he has taught, and learning how to take those personal aspects and really, when you inject those extra personal touches into conversation and business, you get results that you could have never imagined, and I have seen those. And professionally, with Susan's leadership class and taking personality quizzes and learning things about myself that I could either reframe to better myself even further, or that I didn't even recognize about myself that I could then start applying. And possibly most importantly, was Mr. Dillow's discipleship classes, where I really started to take that deeper walk with God and make my faith my own in ways that I would have never done outside of Vertical. And all of that culminates after that first semester in the first year on our on our trip that we took to Morocco, or at least some of us. This trip is possibly one of, if not the thing that has changed my faith the most, possibly in my life. Why it was so significant is going there, since Morocco is a restricted country, you cannot actively preach the gospel there. So how are you to share? Well, you just simply live life. And the way that really revolutionized my look at faith was a Christian that owned a hotel that we were staying at in Morocco that had a Muslim couple running the hotel for them. This Muslim couple was so unlike other Muslim couples or owners of a business that it was hard to look at them as Muslim at times. They seemed almost like brothers and sisters in Christ. And that level of just living just wears off on people was something that I hope I'm in good company when I say this. I tend to build that up as, oh, that's for people with a pastoral gift or a missional gift or of the like. And this is for people that are deeper than me. No, God calls you, and that was the shift that I needed to really start living out my faith. Going into the second year, after building all of those personal and professional skills, was when I really started to build on my leadership and creative skills. This is where I focused on stepping out a little bit more, or was even made to step out a little bit more. For SoundPointe, what that looked like, since I was one of the seniors or upperclassmen, I was leader with LJ here on that, and I had to learn how to lead more than the project that I had led in the first semester that I kind of failed at. And I did that successfully. What I also did successfully was step into a creative role that I would never have done otherwise in creating the logo. And after repeatedly bashing my head into a brick wall trying to come up with designs, I presented my page to my fellow project mates, and after they lovingly beat me over the head with, "Your work is good, use it," we came up with the design here on the right that you see on the screen that is being used by them. And what is Canara Rides? Well, for those of you who know me well, this is not a shock. For those of you who don't, I'm a roller coaster enthusiast. So what that means is I've been to a half a dozen states, to a dozen and a half different parks, and over 130 unique rides ridden over the course of the last several years. To say that I'm passionate about this is a little bit of an understatement. So what it is a roller coaster manufacturer that would design and build rides. I will not go into the presentation inside of a presentation, that would take too long. But what it was is a dream that I had mostly kept to myself or for my close friends and family that I would share as, oh, this will never happen, but this is an idea that I have. Well, one of our capstones was to take that and make it a business. And while this may not still be something that I do in the near future, it went from something that I had kept close to something where I had to reveal that. And it was a little bit of a step out. It was kind of intimidating and felt a little bit exposing because here's this dream that I had. But you know what? I built it. And that's something that, oh, this will never happen to. It could take a decade or more, but if I chose to do it, I could with the right set of skills and people. And so all of this culminates in Belize. Belize was possibly, I think, the most vertical trip that we have done ever. What Belize was going to a foreign country where we had to present all of the skills that we had been learning for either just a few months or just a little over a year. And how do you condense that knowledge into 3 days over 2-hour sessions? How do you do that? We had to take scalers and climbers, all of our skills in project management, creativity, in leadership, in refining, and do all of that to create these presentations that we could share that with those local business people and make it worth their time. And you know what? We did it. And we did it through a translator, through challenges we didn't even anticipate. And I connected with a businessman there on a deeper spiritual level than I think I've connected with most people here in the States. We poured into them as much as they poured into us. And that is an opportunity I will forever be grateful for. And so what does the future hold for me? Well, the future holds not being stagnant as I was. What that means is going home and returning my time to the credit union that has been so gracious to me and letting me reduce my time from from full-time to part-time hours and going fully remote in order to even attend Vertical. It also looks like making sure I am keeping myself sharp and learning new skills and joining spiritual groups to make sure that I am not losing the progress and momentum that I have. And so my first thank you goes to God for even giving me this opportunity and sharing that through the grapevine many years ago. My second thank you goes to my family for making me the man that I am today, and to my sister for keeping me sharp through the process. My third thank you to my friends, my wonderful friends in God, for being the iron that sharpens my iron through this whole process. Through the trauma bonding of not having a syllabus in the first semester to traveling the world with you. Thank you for everything. And to the facilitators. Classes so often die on having bad teachers. You are not those teachers. Thank you for being the wonderful, passionate people that you are that made the experience what it is. And so, who am I? Well, first of all, I am someone that can read a room. More importantly, I am a man who knows what I'm doing, who knows who he is, and is a strong man of God and a world changer. I have a family that will support me and friends that will have my back, and I will have the opportunity to pursue whatever I want, even if I don't have the skills, because I know how to pursue it. And with all of that, a last thank you to everyone else here who I only partially know or don't know in the audience, for making my classmates the people that they are. I probably would not have met them otherwise, and I thank you for the opportunity to get to know them. Every single one of them is a wonderful person. Thank you. And with that, who has the first question?
What's your piece of advice to 17-year-old Shiloh?
What do I say to myself? 17-year-old me. Don't overthink it, and get yourself with people that don't overthink it. Get around people that are the person you want to be, who you are not yet, because you will grow in those ways.
What's your next roller coaster?
Oh boy. Well, that really kind of depends. There's one in Chicago that I haven't ridden yet, but I would really like to try to get back to a park in Branson, Missouri that has a couple that I hadn't ridden from a previous trip that I would like to get, and one of them is closing this year for good. So that's the ideal the next ride that I get. Yes.
What's your next stretch assignment for yourself?
Getting active, getting fit again. Being a desk jockey, I've noticed that over the last couple of years. So my next stretch assignment is getting myself physically active again so that I'm not weak. I have noticed that I'm getting more tired in things than I should be. So making sure that I'm staying fit. But I would say more importantly, making sure that I'm finding and creating time to get part of those spiritual groups back home when I return to Ohio so that I don't lose the progress that I've made so far. Yeah.
I don't have a question. I just want to say that we can't be more proud. We love you from both of us.